Okay, we are live again. It is dark, as you can see. Going to turn up the light a little bit, but not too much. You do not want to see my tired face, I think. But anyway, welcome to this channel. I am going to test a new feature here on YouTube. So I'm going to say the following. Please remember to subscribe and also consider um, giving this live stream a like. Now, why did I say that? Well, of course, it would be nice if you subscribe, but also there's a feature that apparently there's an animation now. When you say subscribe in a video or a live stream, there's an animation. Something like subscribe will pop up. And that's what the kids like, I think. And also when you say like. So, but those of you who are commenting, you have already subscribed. So I guess you will not see it. You have to subscribe to be in the chat. So I am very, very happy to see you there, Jen and Angela, Valerie, Retrofan, Ian, and from Texas. I really want to go to Texas. I really want to go to America. You know, there is a dream of mine to go to America and buy or rent one of these old American cars, you know, the big ones, and drive around and explore the USA. That would be wonderful. and to see the real USA, you know, because I think it's not like as it is presented on social media, and I think that the same applies will apply in the USA as in most countries that I have visited. People are not that very different from us Norwegians, and people are mostly good and okay, you know. The Ozarks, Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, yeah, of course. Um, so, and I also want to go to Japan, of course. Yeah. Now, Jam and Jake, I have a question for you concerning Japan. Is it true that if you buy a real a real samurai sword, a real katana, for instance, then that you can't bring it out of the country? It has to stay in the country. Is that true? So, okay, let me get to the point here. It's going to be a little bit back and forth. I have done some more controversial live streams lately, some more controversial, excuse me, videos. And it gets to a point where I get a little bit sick and tired of all that. So this is not going to be yeah, we're just a bunch of trolls, I know. Yeah. Big bad trolls here. Yeah, so this is not going to be like that. Also because I have a headache and I have the headache woke me up, so I've already been up for 2 hours writing. So I've actually done my writing for today. So I've finished my work at 4:30 a.m., which is early, or late, whatever you call it. Yeah. So let's get to the topic here. People have joined the chat, and we have some 116 people watching. Oh no, you have another shooting there. I'm sorry to hear that. That's horrible. I haven't looked at the news yet. Um, yeah, let's um, let's get to the topic. I am getting back to Viking Age reenacting. Yeah, and it is not the best timing because there are no Viking festivals now until spring. But I'm really going to enjoy that. Now I stopped because of several reasons. Well, thank you, Angela. Yes, if you like this live stream, it's very unprofessional, I know, but if you like it, then you can hit the like and all that. Did that maybe that animation showed up again? Um, yes, I'm getting back to Viking reenactment. Now, I do not like the word reenactment, or because it sounds like I'm acting, and I'm not. It's for me a Viking festival, getting my Viking garments on, and it's not acting for me. Um, and I think I can justify saying that because it is, no, it's not fantasy, not for me at least. It's my job, actually. Now, I'm one of the few people out there who can actually say that it is the Viking Age is my job. I am writing a series of novels, historical novels from the Viking Age. Um, And proud Cyan Prince, thank you for the donation. I will be replying to your comment there. Hold on a little bit, just hold on. So, yes, I'm getting back to that. It will start this spring, but before that, I will be making videos, and I will be continuing my research, hands on research. Now, there's this idea that my entire life is on video. You get some people commenting like if I'm filming in one location, then they assume that I am sitting there all of the time. Like it's no, I don't. It's so a lot of the things that I am doing in my life is not on camera, believe it or not. Most things I do in my life is not on camera, as it should be. You know. Thank you, Angela. Um, so I a part of my job is hands-on research. Just something as simple and important as putting Viking shoes on, walking around in the snow with them on. It is very different. It's like I believe you can't understand, for instance, Viking battle without having um, walked around in Viking shoes. Quite literally, you can't understand it before you've worn their shoes, right? They are quite slippery because they're all leather under. But anyway, so I'm getting back to that, and I stopped. I'll briefly explain why I stopped. I think Viking festivals in general now are crap. I think I've said it before. Well, yeah, this is somewhat of a hidden hangout. It's I didn't put it in the title, but we can call it that. But still, why are they crap? Because I've said before, it's like you go there and you want to recreate or be in an environment where they have recreated the Viking Age, and instead, my impression, and it's a bit cruel maybe to say it, but what I saw the last few times I went to a Viking festival was a blend of blue-haired feminists walking around, um, people, merchants selling crap from, like furs from poor animals that have spent their lives in cages, mixture between that and a tattoo convention, and people selling, you know, even modern style longbows. You know, it's it's like all those things are modern things, if you know what I mean. It's like it's not Viking Age. It's I what I want to see when I go to a Viking festival is real craftsmen, like a blacksmith, someone working, making arrows, fletching arrows. I want to smell the campfires, and I want to sit down and have a chat with people who are not trying to sell you stuff all the time, you know? So, yeah, that's that's what I'm looking for. But I still think you can find that. So I'm going to have an open mind, not be so judgmental. And if there are elements like that in a Viking festival, then I will try to find the elements that are not like that, because that will be there as well, if you know what I mean. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling over the words a little bit. I'm not feeling all wonderful this very early morning. Okay. Proud Scion Prince, you're visiting Norway for your birthday in 8 days. Well, congratulations in advance. Visiting as many Viking museums, sites, monuments, etc. Any suggestions or recommendations? You know what? Sadly, I'm pretty sure the Viking Ship Museum in Oslo is closed. But I would recommend that you go to the museum in Vestfold, Borre. You can do a search on the internet, and I'll just write those keywords there in the chat. And you can do a search on that. And as I always say, you should see the Stone Circle field in my area, which is and also some keywords there for you. Okay. I'll just scroll down here. Let's see. Royal, yes, it says, I would like to have a Viking bow. Yeah, I am also getting back into archery, traditional archery and historical archery, which is a passion of mine. Yes, thank you, Angela. Yes, please check out my other channels in the description. Yeah, wonderful. So archery is interesting in the way that you can make your own bows, and you can make bows and experiment with them and see what works and what doesn't work. Uh, I I love making bows. I have made many bows. I am actually now looking at 4 bows that I made right over there on the wall. There's my Dare U bow. I hope that If there's sometimes they put the subtitles there on and it becomes I'm very careful because they like the Jews. No, it's I'm talking about the tree, a yew longbow, which I foolishly took out with me for a photo shoot for a book cover. No, not a book cover, a promotion thing for one of my books. And while I was shooting it, it broke because that can happen when it's cold outside. And I have a hazel bow, the second one I think I made. I have a sinew-backed bow, and I have the one I made at a weekend course in bow making, which is an ash bow. Interestingly, the ash came from some wooden planks from IKEA. So, so now I think I forgot the whole title. Can anyone remind me of the title? Did I write something about escapism? Escapism. I should only use words that I can actually pronounce in the title. But please remind me. Oh, David, you have 2 staves of Pacific yew, planning to make 2 bows. Wonderful, wonderful. Escapism. Seeking truth. Yeah, okay. Thanks for reminding me. So, yeah, thanks. So, is it escaping the truth? Is it escaping the truth, or is it seeking the truth? Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. While I think actually I am going to have to blow my nose because not a cold, but I'll cover the camera actually because it's not so nice for you guys. Okay. Oh. Okay. That's again a little bit unprofessional. Yeah, cold weather causes a runny nose. We are going to have snow tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. Sunday. No, no allergies. No. Yeah. So. Yeah. Okay. I'll stop here. Dark light. LMFAO. Laughing my flipping ass off. Something like that. Imagine calling someone who is in touch with their own culture a LARPer. Yes, and I've seen that a lot. Isn't that sad? And here's my point. Here's what I want to say. Anyone who finds some kind of comfort or enjoyment in, for instance, drinking alcohol until the point where you get a little bit, what's the word, tipsy, a little bit drunk. Anyone who is kind of enjoying that should not criticize someone who goes to a Viking festival or, a mountain man festival, places where you recreate the past, because that's healthy escapism. Escapism, it's healthy. It's a healthy way of escapism. Escapism. That's a healthy way of escapism, while getting drunk is not healthy, you know. It can happen to the best of us, but it's not healthy, you know. Um, isn't that a good and intelligent point? Please applaud my my good point here. You know, I think I never thought about it that way before, but I think it needs to be said. Um, yeah, Sister Goldenhair is in agreement with that, and thank you for the donation, T. Fisher. That's very kind of you. That's very kind of you. Um, yeah. Oh, you call them Mountain Man Festivals rendezvous. Okay. Rendezvous. I had French in school, forgot all about it because I never used it. So, yeah, I would like to be a mountain man. I wanted to be a mountain man when I was like a kid because I watched Jeremiah Johnson like 100 times. So, but anyway, yeah, so I think that escapism is not bad. Maybe we need it because we live in a kind of society, at least here in the West, that is very artificial, very unhealthy in many ways. Well, just look at the level of depression that people are suffering from. And maybe escapism is not really that. Maybe it's seeking the truth, seeking what is real. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm saying it right now. Okay. Escapism. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Um, and, it's like, for me, it's what can be more real than making, a bow drill fire. That's not really a Viking thing, but it's a so-called primitive skill. Um, flint and steel fire in the morning. I always do that, and I don't like it so much when I see people like in the neighbor tent and they use their lighter to make fire in the morning. Then they have a cigarette, and then they look at their smartphone. I don't like that. I don't like to see that, but I'll try to look another way. Um, and and it's like it is real. It is also getting in touch with who we are and our culture and our ancestry. Um, so that's how I would argue against those people who are saying that, oh, you're LARPing, you're not a Viking, you're LARPing. That's what they always say, you know. And yes, I will be uploading Viking style videos again. And I know that a lot of people will not like that, and I don't care anymore. Because I'm not really making videos for other people. I'm kind of making them for myself, actually. Took me many years to realize that. To answer your question there, how I feel about Domi PA, how I feel about Vikings metal and folk metal coming out of Norway, I think it's great. I think it's great. Uh, but my favorite Viking or Norse style band, or it's just one guy. I'll write it here. Is what I just wrote there. He's Dutch, I think. I'm pretty sure he's Dutch. Um, and let's see here. To the point of the video title says banana pants. Why can't it be both? Yeah, maybe it is both, you know. Um, let's see here. Dave Barron says, right, I will unsub if there is no truther content. Well, I don't. Why do you need to tell us that? I mean, I'm not your dad. You can unsubscribe whenever you like. I will upload the content that I like to upload. I'm not a slave to YouTube. So, um, isn't that, let's see here. Um, okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm struggling a little bit with the chat here. Let's see. Now I lost the comment. Where is? Oh yes, no, there it is. One who studies. Good nickname, by the way. We should all study. Nature is truther. Are you ready for a little rant? I didn't plan to do a rant, but here it comes. Truth is a very big word. And I hate titles like The Truth About. The Truth About. You need to make sure that you do a lot of research and that you have spoken with many people concerning a topic before you say that you know the truth. And I know that truther is like, I know what you mean. It's kind of almost a niche in YouTube. Um, and but we should be careful about this because I don't know everything. Neither do you. And there are certain areas where I have a high degree of knowledge, and there are many, many more areas than that where I know very little. You know, so we should stay humble. We should stay students, um, and I will be calling out uh, things when it needs to be called out. And I am pretty sure that we are heading towards very difficult times. And I do see it as my duty to help fight that. We must all help fight that. Um, and yeah, so you will see that that kind of content, but I don't want to sit there in every single video and be an angry middle-aged man. It's just that would be pathetic, you know. So, where is this other? Wanderer, thank you. Says upload what you want. Christopher, can you trace your bloodline? Yes, I can. Um, not because, well, I can do that because one of my relatives have done it. She is doing genealogy. Is that what it's called when you follow the ancestry back? And she's done a lot of work on that, and it's like when you have someone who was famous or who was like a priest or a noble or something like that, it gets easier because most common people, they kind of vanish into the sands of time. But yeah, so there's my on my father's side, there are she done that she's on my father's side, so she has done a lot of work on that, and actually she traced our ancestry back to the year 100 or something like that. And lots of maniacs, and I'm directly descended from Egil Skallagrimson, who was in even in his time, the Viking age, he was a bit special. He was a bit special. Yeah, let's just say that. He was a bit special. Um, his party trick was poking the eyes on other people and throwing up in their face. But yeah, um, Richie Dupe is saying Halloween is coming up. Can be traced back to the Eye of Horus, is it? Really? I didn't know that. I know it's a Celtic thing. Why Christians celebrate is beyond me. Yes, um, cash dollars to be earned. I don't understand that last part, but yeah, but that it's the same with many um, religious holidays. Holidays. So it's religion doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's inspired by other belief systems and all that, and the same can be said about the Norse so-called heathen belief system. Um, so let's see here. I'll just scroll down. Proud Scion Prince, thanks again for the donation. Would a 0 degree, is that Celsius you're talking about? If it is, be okay for this time of the year? Planning on doing some UTs? Yeah, well, okay. Actually, it depends, but I would say I would get a warmer sleeping bag, actually, because the forecast says that it's going to get cold now. So get a warmer sleeping bag, if that is Celsius you're talking about. Red Scout is saying, any Christians here? Usually there are Christians in the chat. Just one, say hi. You can say hi if you're a Christian. Christians are welcome. Would I approve if my novels were made into film series? Yes, absolutely. I would, but it depends. I would not like a typical Netflix Netflix adaptation, because it would be crap. Um, let's see here. Hmm. Oh, is it minus 17 Celsius? That should be enough. Yes, that's Fahrenheit. I guess 0 Fahrenheit. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, Netflix. No, it's. I would not like to see that. Um, I haven't heard any news concerning getting my novels published in English. It needs to happen, though. So, please don't get into the Bible quote and Jesus thing here. Please don't be. It's not. It's not the place for that. So, okay. Edgar is asking, do you respect cool antique lighters at Viking festivals? I think we should be a little bit more accepting than I have often been. concerning what is historically accurate. I have one of those lanterns myself. I think you are talking about the ones covered with like rawhide, and you have a candle in there. I think that's okay. I think that's okay. Yeah, Angela says no preaching, please, no matter what religion. Yeah. I'll just check. I'm sorry I have to do this, but I'll just have to check if there's the Bible thumpers, because that can happen, Uh, okay. Now, I think it's okay, actually. Okay. Okay, the lighters thing. Edgar, no lighters, not lamps, like a zipper for smoking and campfire starting. Well, I have to be honest with you. I don't like to see that if I'm at a Viking festival. I don't like to see that. Of course, if you are if you're cold and you need to start a fire and you haven't learned how to use the flint and steel, by all means, use a lighter. But I think if you need to smoke at the Viking festival, you should not do that so that everyone can see, because really, I mean, I know it's an addiction and you need it and so on, but well, maybe not you, Edgar, but people. Well, it's an addiction, so it's difficult for people not to do that. But it's sitting there in your Viking clothes smoking a cigarette. It's not. To me, it destroys the mood. Okay, and also smoking is bad for you. So. Well, a pipe would be the same. They did not have that in the Viking Age. So, okay. No, I don't get it. Why a pipe would be okay? It's like I think that's something that comes from these movies, the Lord of the Rings movies, and all that. But really, it is not Viking Age. I mean, no, it just isn't. You know. They would smoke if available. Well, first of all, how do you know? And secondly, well, they would drive a car and use power tools if available, and they would shoot a gun if available. Uh, I mean, what what's your point? But back to now, the Vikings did not have tobacco. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I get it. Just asking because I love my pipes. Yeah, well, but it's clearly not Viking Age. So, now, again, I am getting back to Viking reenactment. But the tobacco comments here reminds me that most of it I will do alone, on my own. I have a small piece of land, and I have a Viking cabin there. You have seen it in some of my videos on the main channel. Um, Yeah. Okay. I am going to ask the moderators here any suggestion concerning narcotics here. Get rid of those comments. It will not be accepted. Okay. Now, horror business. Yeah, okay, yes, you are correct. There is no evidence of that. And the idea that berserkers would do that it goes against everything we know about berserkers. Now, the berserkers were elite warriors, not in the movies. That's silly. They were elite warriors. They had specific tasks on the battlefield and on the longships. And you would not be able to perform in such a precise and deadly manner if you were intoxicated. That just would not work. Um, it's we need to look at things not with the modern perception of this and be realistic about this. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So just get rid of those comments because it's not okay. It could get me in problems here on YouTube, and I don't like to see those comments. Okay. So again, most of the reenactment, which is a word I don't like so much. No, your comment was horror business was not offensive at all. No. You were absolutely right there. I'll just scroll up again if I can find it. No, sorry, but yeah, let's move on. Let's move on. So it will be mostly done alone. I'm okay with that. It is part of my job. It is part of my passion. Archery will be a part of that, and also making bows. And I think what you will see among those who are serious about recreating the Viking Age is that very often they find a favorite craft, which they do. And for me, it's making bows. My friend Berserker Gang 2019, who is here on YouTube, is his passion is blacksmithing, and he has made me many nice things, and that you will see in some of my videos. Other people they work with. I think you say the same word in English, nålebinding. It's all like Viking Age knitting, almost. Again, other people they do. Some people brew mead. Actually, I have done that myself, which was funny because it was a very. I did that before it became fashionable, and um, and the recipe I used was from a very old book written by some monks, and it was like, did you know they drank a lot back then? The monks, they must have been drunk all the time, from morning to evening. But anyway, I the recipe was like a huge amount of mead, so I cut it in half or 1/4. And yeah, I didn't know how long it was going to, you were going to have to wait. And I've told you this before, so I did something very naughty. I invited some friends to a party and I had them test it. The first time it was not finished, but they still got drunk. But then they got sick. Um, yeah, so like throwing up a little bit. And the next time, and then I waited for a few more weeks, and then it was like perfect and much stronger. Um, so yeah, that was the story about the mead. Yeah, they were all happy, so no complaints. Um, let's see here. Yeah, that's interesting. Kingdoms and Kobolds is asking, would berserkers be anything like Marines when compared to modern day context? I, I think, I think I would want. I think yes, in a way. First in combat forces meant to take and secure ground quickly, or more like a special forces group. Well, I have looked into this a lot because my main character is actually a berserker in my series of novels, um, and we have to guess quite a lot. We also have to realize that many of the stories, or most of the stories, like the Berserker at Stamford Bridge and so on, those stories are told stories, even though they probably come from the sources is something that actually happened. I think the Berserkers had one out of two missions, or they could work in one out of two ways. Um, a suicide mission, or that would be like one guy holding the bridge, or they would be um, the ones that would break the defense lines of the opponent. So they would go in and be this devastating force, breaking a shield wall, and also using fear to inflict fear and panic in the minds of the attacker. Um, I have um, I have a Dane axe, which is a replica, which was made for me, and I have tested it. I also have that in some videos. And the first time I tested it, I was surprised that it was a lot more devastating and deadly and forceful than I imagined. And I will say that it's not like in the movies, it's much worse. You will take a head clean off the shoulders with an axe like that. It is quite, yeah, you will do that. So, yeah. Okay. So I think the comparison is quite good, comparing it to the Marines, but a berserker would work with warriors who were not berserkers, and in my personal opinion, they would work with a shield man or two of them. Um, so let's move on. Thank you, Angela. Yes, the axe comparing with the sword. Um, yeah, that was interesting. Horror Business is asking, why do you think there are so few Viking Age helmets still intact? I saw one at the Oslo Museum. They seem to be very rare. Is there a reason for them to be seldom seen nowadays? Yes, there is a reason for that. Now, I think there is only one intact that they have found. The simple reason I think is that it is when you compare it to the thickness of the steel in a sword, it is quite thin, relatively speaking. And the way I think that when you work with a sheet of metal, forming it into a hat, it's round. That shape is, it will rust, but a sword will be more protected, also because it's often in a sheath and so on. And also, I think that a Viking helmet was not that common. Um, like a chainmail was not very common. Um, I think it became more common as time moved, as we got towards the end of the Viking Age and so on. And the Viking Age chainmails that we have found are like shirts. They are short. Um, and I have a personal theory about that. It's easier to get off when you're on a ship. If you fall overboard and you have a long chainmail like mine, I have two and they go down to the knee. You would have problems getting it off if you fall into the water. Maybe. um, um, let's scroll down here. Well, I can say that here's Johnny. It says that chainmail is basically perfect, requires not much maintenance at all. Well, I can say that my chainmails do require maintenance. They do require that I keep them in a dry place. Um, it's they will rust, and the rings are quite thin, so it will disintegrate if it rusts, if it gets too rusty. Um, so yeah, a chainmail was very expensive to produce. We need to compare these things to let's say a sword. A sword would be the equivalent of having a nice car, and we can only imagine like something like a chainmail, the work that goes into it. It was not for the common man, you know. Yeah, they would probably have kept oil on their chainmails. Yeah. Um, let's see here. Yeah, well, the diet of the Vikings, JJ, a carnivore diet if you want your health back. Yes, absolutely. It is. A lot of people, myself included, have benefited tremendously from going carnivore. I will say that now that I'm training quite hard, I have added quite a lot of carbs, and because of that, I am gaining body weight. But we know quite a lot about the diet of the Vikings. They ate a very healthy diet, a lot of fish, a lot of meat. Um, well, depending on the season and what they could get hold of course. They did eat grains, which is, well, I was going to say is not so healthy. It is not, but back then, um, it was probably a lot healthier because what we are eating now, the grains that we are eating now, is not really natural food. It's been tampered with through the centuries. Um, okay. Um, Yeah, horror business says I have never understood how a sword can penetrate chainmail so easily. Yeah, that's the weakness with chainmail. Oh, thank you, Jen. The super chat function. That's very kind of you. Um, yes, the Vikings reached mountains. They did dry fish, and they would bring it along on the ships and so on. And I'll tell you that dried fish, it's I don't like it so much. But you can actually buy it as snacks, like a healthy alternative to potato chips. But I don't like it so much. Um, yeah, well, the sword now? Okay, so the Viking sword was not really built for penetrating. It's for slashing, but a spear will easily penetrate a chainmail. The rings will break apart. Um, and I have one chainmail where the each ring has a little thing, so it's tied together, each ring. The other one is just rings that can be with force um, forced apart. So um, that would be weaker. Um, okay. Yes, riveted gunslinger. Yes, I think that's the word. Yeah. Um, it bends the rings open. Yeah, that's one of the chainmails I have. I have two. Uh, yeah. Well, yeah, Christian. They use the axe, especially the Dane axe, for hooking shields, necks, and behind the knees and things like that. It is a very effective weapon. Um, so typically they would. Well, we don't know this, but you can tell a lot from the design of the weapons. They would hook a shield to open up the defense of that person to someone with a spear or a sword, who would then move quickly in and get rid of that person. You know. Um, Gunslinger, have you made a chainmail? That must have taken a long time. Um, so, um, did it not work? The super chat, Daniel. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Well. um, yeah. Well, let's move on a little bit. Um, Gunslinger says 30,000 links on average for a chainmail shirt that goes down to the waist. Oh, that's a lot. Albia Maya says second test. Jen, well, that's that's almost too kind, Jen. Um, I don't know what to say. Well, thank you. Um, thank you. That's wonderful. Thank you. Um, so yeah, escapism. Yeah, escapism. So is it so bad to practice some escapism? Just to recap that, that's another cool word that I learned. Recap. And as I said at the beginning of this live stream, I think that anyone who finds some kind of comfort or enjoyment in getting drunk should not criticize someone who goes to a Viking festival and who is wearing Viking garments and having a tent there, because clearly drinking alcohol is escapism for most people. And it is an unhealthy kind of escapism. Using that word a lot now that I can pronounce it. So I believe that's a good point there. And is it seeking the truth? I think it is. The truth is a big word, but we should seek the truth. We should at least try to get closer to some truth, and I think we can find that if we go back to what's real, to the so-called primitive skills, to the starting your campfire in the morning with your flint and steel, things like that. That's what I wanted to say. So yeah. Now I'm not saying that you should never drink alcohol. Not saying that. I'm just saying that the criticism that you get typically, and that I will get if I show up, which I will, in Viking clothes in a video on my main channel. People will be writing, "Oh, why are you dressing up as a Viking instead of fighting the immigrants?" They will write that. That's the level of stupidity that some of these people are at. It and I it's like, I don't know what's wrong with these people, but anyway, it's like, oh yeah. Yeah, here's a you know one who studies says melting ice reveals hidden Viking artifacts. BBC News YouTube video from 3 days ago. Yes, they are finding a lot of Viking artifacts because the glaciers are melting. So here's one thing that people seem to not realize. What does it mean that we are finding Viking artifacts in the glacier? Does it mean that in the Viking Age, people walked up into the glacier, crossed the glacier with all those dangerous cracks, and then they dropped some stuff there? Is that what it means? I think not. I do not think that people 1,000 years ago and 1,200 years ago would walk up there, cross the glaciers intentionally. I do not think that they did that if they could avoid it. I think that what they dropped there was covered by an expanding glacier because it got colder. Because during the Viking Age it was quite warm, and then it got colder. The glaciers expanded. Now it's getting warmer, it seems. And the glaciers are retracting. And that's why we are finding these Viking artifacts. But it seems like most people believe that the Vikings were walking up there on the glacier. And I mean, yeah. Cora, I can see your message. Yes. Um, Okay. So, let's see here. What would be, Abia Maya is asking, what would be the borderline between escapism and truth seeking? That's an interesting question. Maybe, as someone wrote there, it can be both at the same time. Um, yeah. Okay. So, do you listen to Iron Maiden? I've listened to quite a lot of Iron Maiden. It's not my favorite band, I will say, but it's I do not dislike it. Um, Larry is asking, Vikings had whiskey and spirits, did they not? No, they did not, actually. That invention came later. So the strongest would be wine and mead. Um, and some of the beer that they had probably was quite strong and a lot stronger than we have now. But it depends on the type of grain they were using, actually, and the fermentation process as well. Um, Quantitative disease says, I don't think reliving or living as a Viking is really escapism, more like you just remembering and honoring your ancestral traditions. I agree. Linda is asking, do all Vikings like heavy metal? It seems to be a thing among people who are interested in Viking reenactment. Seems to be a thing. You will probably not find that rap music is very popular among people who are into Viking reenactment. It's just it's just a thing that yeah, yeah. Um, um, yeah, yeah. I don't have any evidence for that statement. It's just it's just something is my yeah. That's it. Seems like it is like that. Okay. Yeah, more like a rock and metal scene. Yes. And there is this festival, which is a combination, which is the Midgardsblot in Norway every year. And I have a lot to say about that festival and what it has become. I will not be going there. Um, it's I've seen the photos. Uh, it's the kind of thing I do not like much, I think. So, yeah. Uh, KP Heathen says yes, please. Historic Viking reenactment. Yeah, and it's like this. I think that if you go to a Viking festival, you should make an effort to recreate the Viking Age. Now, there are parts of the Viking Age we do not want to recreate, that we should not recreate for obvious reasons, like s- slavery, you know, and and goes without saying. Um, yeah, the Midgardsblot, yeah, dark and yeah, I don't know what's going on there really, but I've seen some photos. They seem to be not. They seem to be on something. Yeah. Um, okay. Um, okay. Where was I? Yes, if you go to a Viking festival, you should make an effort to recreate the Viking age. I think it is stupid and silly to be picking at people's clothes like, oh, that seam there is made by a machine. That's not correct. And that, no, that's not what you should do. But rather, I think it's about avoiding the modern things, especially the unhealthy parts of modern life, like cigarettes and smoking and smartphones and using a lighter to make fire, if you can avoid it. Um, and I don't like so much when you see people, even men, dressing up in furs like foxes, silver. What's it called? The ones they keep in this evil practice of keeping foxes in cages to get their skin. Um, Walking around like with all dressed up in that. I hate to see that. Um, you don't need to be an idiot, right? So just saying, you know. Um, okay. Colleen, did you quit smoking 14 months ago? That is wonderful. Congratulations. Rick Mountain says Bjorn's wooden cell phone never needs charging. That is true. Um, let's see here. Um, yeah, yeah, it is horrible. With And that's with the skin from the fur from the foxes and all that. I do not like it when I go to Viking festivals and they are selling all these animal furs, because it's not like these people went out hunting, uh, and even that hunting only for the fur. I think it's disgraceful. Um, but you know, um, they've just bought it for cheap from some farm, where they keep these foxes, and then they go to a Viking festival in Norway and sell it. It's I don't like that. Um, that's interesting, Rob. Got a question, please. No one take offense. I have full respect for everyone. What's your thoughts on pagan Christians? Uh, Colleen, yes, I early in this chat, someone told us about the mass shooting. Yeah, I think it's the same one you're referring to. I haven't seen the news yet. It's just, yeah, a lot could be said about that. You seem to have a lot of these mass shootings in the USA. And people who are so eager to say that we should connect the dots, could you not connect the dots on that one? A combination of easy access to drugs, poor mental health care, and guns everywhere. It's not a good combination, is it? Don't get me wrong. Don't want to get into a fight about the Second Amendment. I do support the Second Amendment, but you need to understand guns will not solve your problems or keep you safe. Seems like you have a problem. Okay. Pagan Christians. What is that? I would say that I could be difficult here, and I could say that for me, as a Norse heathen, I would not call myself a heathen. I am one of I am a believer in the truth, right? Um, the teachings of Odin, and so on. And everyone else is a pagan, you know. Everyone else is a pagan. A Christian is a pagan. A Muslim is a pagan, and so on and so on. So it goes both ways, right? I think. Are you pagan Christians? Are you referring to this thing where, um, yeah, yes, mental health, yeah. If you just take the guns away, you will still have mass shootings. Okay, so it's yeah, I let's not get into that again. But a pagan, a man of no religion? No, not at all, Andy. A pagan is no. Um, so there's this thing where um, some Christians, probably because they are fascinated by, for instance, Norse paganism, they will say that they believe in Jesus and all that, but also um, they believe in, they have some kind of belief that Odin, the Norse gods, are somewhat real, and there are even, I've seen people uh, using crazy explanations like, "Oh, they were fallen angels," and things like that. Um, yeah. So yeah. Okay. Patricia says there is nothing wrong with using animal fur. I think there is something wrong about. Well, it depends on where it comes from. If that animal was killed because you needed food, then it's okay, I think, not throwing away the fur. But what we are talking about here is killing animals just for the fur. I think that's wrong. We do not need to do that. We have sheep. We can get wool and make clothes from that. And as someone who has used both, like reindeer fur and also the wool garments, I will say that fur is not good when it rains, and it will rain in this part of the world. Am I techno Viking? Okay, I didn't know that. Um, Patricia says Christians wouldn't allow a dual pagan Christian per their rules. Yeah, it's there's a bit of mental gymnastics being practiced there, I think. Um, let's see here. Yeah, wool is better. It is. It's well, is it warm? A reindeer hide is very warm. But you can treat wool with different in different ways so that it gets almost water proof. Viking ship sails were wool. Yes, it was the sheep that made the Viking Age possible. Actually, yeah. Um, do you know what kind of oil they use to keep the equipment healthy, including saddle leather? Well, I know quite a bit about that, but in reality, and this comes from my having a Viking cabin, um, it is a constant struggle to keep things, especially metal, from rusting. You will get mold on everything if it's not if the house is not kept warm and dry, and you can only do that by having a fire in there every day. And I'm not in my Viking cabin every day, so it is quite a struggle, and it was a constant process of maintaining the environment and keeping it dry, and you would have to keep your stuff inside, uh, so that it would not be exposed to the elements. Viking sails were made of wool. Yeah. Um, uh, let's see here. I'll just scroll up here. Yes, Colin. Ireland does blend pagan and Christian religions or traditions. Yes, yes. Yeah, I know. I know. Uh, um, okay. Yeah, the Inuit. Yeah, we're getting into details here. Um, but I just think that we should apply some common sense here, and I don't think that keeping animals in cages is okay. I think that's wrong. Um, and so we should not support the people who keep foxes in cages to kill them in a horrible way as to get the furs. Thank you, Abia Maya. Third test of a super chat for coffee break for Uncle Bjorn. Well, thank you for that. Um, I can also tell you that I am going to be receiving we call them Oseberg style tent. It's the A-frame tent. It will be a wool tent. I have another wool tent. But the problem is it's a Saxon style or Norman style tent, which is not historically accurate because they would probably not have had that until later. Um, but I am getting an Oseberg style tent. I'm going to make the frames here, and a very kind. Um, uh, let's see. I think I'll write the name here. Something like that. Craft Matuls, something like that. He's Polish. Um, he's going to send me the wool sheath for the Ulsberg tent, and I'm very much looking forward to that. Um, and if you have stayed in a wool tent, I will say that it smells so nice, especially well, it depends what you like, but especially um, when you have a campfire in there and you get that smell from the smoke in the wool. It's just that smell brings you right into the Viking Age. It's so nice. Um, no, I'm not making my own tent. I'm just making the frame because of practical reasons. It's very expensive to send the frame here from Poland, where they will be making the wool sheath. It's very heavy. The wool tent is very heavy. It's you need a horse or something like that, or you need like a bunch of slaves to carry it for you. They could carry you as well. You could sit on a little chair. And, no, I'm just kidding. Vero is saying tobacco smell is nice. Oh, I don't think so. I think it smells horrible. Um, Now, I'm not making the frame on site, but you could. But again, for practical reasons, I'm going to make the frame here and bring it with me on my car, my Viking car. And then I will have people saying, "Oh, you're not a Viking. You're driving a car." And I'm just going to have to call these people out, because I've said several times in my videos that I do not need modern society. I could turn my back on modern society um, at any time. I would be okay with that. And then you have people saying that, "Oh, you're fake. You're talking to a camera, and you're wearing." One idiot wrote something like, "And you're sitting there in modern clothes." And it's like, I'm not saying I have turned my back on modern society. I'm saying that I could. And if that idiot had taken a little bit of a look on my clothes, you will see that I have been wearing the same clothes for a long time. So Fear 11 will last almost a lifetime. And it's like, we are living in modern society. I could turn my back on modern society, but I have not. I need a camera to film these videos. How would I do it without a camera? It's like, I don't know what's wrong with these people. But also, their opinion does not matter. Let's see here. Let's see, I'm scrolling up a little bit past your screen. Yeah, I can't really. Some of the comments here in the chat, I don't see the context, but well, thank you, John. Yes, you are very welcome here. Oh, okay, you Russian East European history major in college. That's wonderful. The time here, it's now almost 6 o'clock. Janet says, if only I could figure out how to survive without refrigerator. Well, it's not that difficult, actually. There are several ways to keep your food from rotting, going bad, without a refrigerator. Jody is asking, do you eat meat? I eat a lot of meat. Every day I eat meat. Yeah. So why is my face in the dark? Well, it's just because I'm sitting in a corner of my writer's office, and it is sort of dark here. I prefer it that way. I don't really care so much about the views and things like that on these live streams. It is nice that people come here, but I'm not going to sit there with a light in my face just to please someone on, I don't know, on YouTube. So this is more comfortable for me. So that's how it's going to be. Um, yeah, dark is easier on the eyes in the morning. It is. It is. Um, so, uh, Rob, are you making venison pies tonight? Well, that's now I'm getting hungry. Yeah, yeah, and I did wake up with a headache. So, yeah. Uh, Wolf of Odin says the women want to see sexy Bjorn. I think not, but um, yeah, mink farms, it's pure evil. You know, I don't know what happens to someone who can do that. You know, what kind of people are, what kind of people is that? They're not normal people. They can't be. Yeah. Um, well, thank you for that. Have you been told sometimes you resemble Anton Chekhov? I have no idea who that is, and I've never heard it before. Yeah. Well, I think I think that when it comes to animals and animal welfare, well, obviously the most kind thing would be if we all went vegan. Yeah. And for that reason, I do absolutely respect people who go vegan. But when they are claiming that it is the healthiest option for the human body, for the human physiology, I disagree because it's not. I wish it was. I really wish we could all live on vegan food. That would be wonderful. Now, the production of vegan food, it's not like you don't kill animals for that because they do. Um, but when we do eat meat and fish, I think that we need to be aware of what we are doing and what is happening now with factory farming. I do not support that. Well, actually, I do support it in the way that I do buy meat in the grocery store. It comes from that kind of production. But if there is an option where I can buy so called organic meat or animal welfare meat, that's a bit of a contradiction there, but at least they had a better life. I will choose that. It is more expensive, but I don't care. I will choose that every single time. Um, because, yeah, I will pay that extra money for that. Yeah, so, yeah, okay. Oh, I should have known that. Yeah, I'm connecting it, the name. Yes, Anton Chekhov. Yes. Sorry. It's just I didn't think about that. Um Now, okay. I'm going to end this live stream now, mainly because my hips are starting to ache because I had a heavy deadlift session last night. You have to keep up with the younger lifters, and all that. So yeah, my hips are starting to ache. Is that the hips don't lie? Okay, you people are. Yeah, okay. There's a Norwegian word for that, but yeah. No, they are. That's where it hurts right now. So yeah. Um, I'll just reply to that, Robert. Why don't you engage in politics? All your themes are political in the end. Well, everything is political in a way. Um, and the reason is that I looked into that. The reason is that I then have to either establish a political party, which I don't have time to do, or I will have to join a political party. And I haven't found any political party that I agree with here in Norway. They took away the option to run as an independent, which I would have done. It would have been interesting to see if I would have gotten any votes, but you can't do that anymore in Norway. Yeah. Um, so okay, I'll leave it with that, and thank you for joining. This was a nice live stream, and we'll talk soon.